Hey there, we're Dan
and Carolyn,
and we're from Bikers, Byways, and Highways. And in this video, we're going to try to make an objective overview of what happened to us.
it was a mess. RV dealership that we went to get our backup camera fixed, and as they ultimately broke our leveling system, the hydraulic jacks.
Yep.
They broke it. We didn't break it, they broke it.
So what we're going to do in this video is try to describe to you what happened, the best and the worst things that could happen. Plus, we're going to tell you what we did to have them make us whole, because there was a time frame they had to have the rig to fix it. And
it was not going to be a month. No,
it had to be a matter of days, but it did take a week eventually.
Yeah.
So we're going to describe to you what the things we did and we suggest you do, along with getting compensated for your time and efforts and anything you have to take care of, along with things the RV dealer probably shouldn't do in the circumstances we're going to describe to you. So hopefully you all enjoy it. Stay to the end to watch this, and we'll give you those tips. All right, so what I'm going to try to do is describe what was going on to have this happen.
it was a mess.
The timeline. So it was the end of Sturgis, and we were winding down, and I'd realized I needed to get a new backup camera because mine broke on the way to Sturgis, and I don't go anywhere without that backup camera because it's very, very helpful in keeping us safe going down the road.
I don't like to drive without it.
Yep, neither do I, and I'm the one who's always driving. She never drives. So what happened was I got online, I Googled, and I thought, okay, well, I'm going to see what kind of repair places I have around the area we were.
Not many.
We wanted to get, there's about 5. So about 4 mom and pops and a large regional national RV dealer.
Yes.
I looked at the Google ratings on the 4 to 5. This particular national one had a rating of 5.
It did have a really good rating.
It did, for their service area. And I thought, well, I've never used them before. I'll give it a try because they're probably going to have the parts we need. Because at the time we got the huge backup on parts everywhere because of the COVID issue. Stuff not moving across the country, across the world. So
it's all sitting in docks.
Yeah, everywhere.
Everywhere.
So I got on there and I said, okay, we'll give them a try. So I gave them a phone call. This was like Thursday before we wanted to be there on a Monday or Tuesday. And I made an appointment and they said, yeah, come on down. We got the parts you need. And we have a camping area where they're just pull-ins. There's free power, free water. A septic around the area you had to pull and dump, but we were only going to be there for a couple hours, we hoped,
Right,
and in and out.
We left Sturgis on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, Monday. Spent the night there, and everything happened the next day.
Yep.
The night that we were there was great.
The next day, we had to get everything ready for them to take and repair the backup camera, which was only going to take an hour. And they told us the day before it could be anytime that day between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. We're like, okay, that's no big deal. So because we had gotten there and it was a first come first serve for those pads, and the only one that was left, it was fairly unlevel. The front of the rig was going downwards towards the parking lot, towards our main building. So we put our levelers up. So everything we did, we unplugged the water, we unplugged the power, we put the propane on for the refrigerator, took the blocks out. The only thing we didn't do, we didn't raise the leveler because obviously it would have rolled downhill and crashed into other rigs.
That would have not been good.
No, not at all. So we got all that done and we left there about 8:15 because I had some maintenance to do on the Dodge Ram. While we were there, it was a no-brainer, so we went ahead and went and took care of that. And we were back and they got us in and out really quick, which is really nice.
The Dodge dealership.
About 40 minutes. Yeah. So we were gone a total of maybe hour and 15 minutes. And then we got back to the rig and what did we see? Oh
my gosh. Our rig, the front of the fifth wheel was down like this on the ground. It's like, oh my gosh, what'd they do? They didn't raise all the jacks.
Yep, there's 6 of them.
Dragged the jacks.
And here's pictures of how far they dragged, a good 15 feet. Apparently they thought they'd just take it without doing it.
Yeah.
So I went over there. It was obviously bent. It wouldn't go up or down. I tried to make the LCI system, get them up or down. It was broke. It kept giving me errors. It would not do anything.
Completely broke.
In fact, the front end was completely down because somehow they got it to pull the hydraulics up on that. They couldn't get it to go down to get the rig level again. So it's sitting there like this.
Yes.
And we're panicked, obviously.
Like, what did they do?
So after I couldn't get it going, we go inside to talk to them. And let me set this up to you before we go. It's during COVID. You've got 6-foot spacing between everybody in the service department. They got these big, giant plastic windows, plexiglass, where you couldn't talk to each other. You had to literally yell, and we had to stand back 6 feet. And they're back behind their cash registers, or their computers, and there's 3 or 4 of them. So it kind of makes for a bad setting because you're almost yelling at them and them to us to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
So we went in, and Carolyn was fit to be tied.
Oh, I was extremely upset because, you know, if you have a fifth wheel, you know that is not normal for that to be down on the ground. There's no way.
So we walked in, I went to the service writer who wrote it up, and I said, hey, what happened to our rig? And so he says, well, you guys screwed up. You didn't have your rig ready to go for us to pick it up. And I went, what? And there's other customers standing in there, and they're kind of looking. And he says, yeah, it's your fault. You should have had all 6 of your levelers up. And I said, you're crazy. I said, you know, it would have ridden down the hill from the camp spot, rammed into 4 or 5 other RVs and into your showroom. Well, it was your fault. And I said, big mistake.
You don't blame your customers for your errors.
Big mistake.
No.
So then Carolyn, she's trying to be calm too, and I'm holding my temper. I'm English, Irish, and Norwegian, and Swede, and I have learned to hold my temper over the years, but they were taxing it.
Well, and I said, well, all your other RVs that are waiting to be serviced, they have their levelers down. I'd say 80% of them did. And he says, no, they don't. I says, let's walk outside and look. And he told me, no, you're wrong.
Yeah,
He
called her a liar. Big mistake.
Yeah.
Big mistake. I've got pictures of it here. You can see these RVs in front of us.
Yes.
All had their levelers down too, all through the night. And then we watch them in the morning come out, lift the levelers up, and take them inside. So that wasn't good. Calling us liars twice, that didn't go over too well with me at all. I know he's trying to probably defend what was going on. I don't know what his reasoning was, but I wasn't going to have it. This was wrong. They broke our rig. RV, pulling any rig, 101 is, before you hook up and pull away, you make sure everything is secured. On our fifth wheel, you put the hitch in, make sure it's locked before you ever take your blocks out, and especially before you ever take up your levelers. And they failed to do that.
Yes.
So the tech spent the next 5 hours trying to figure out how to raise up these levelers so they could at least get it level we could stay in it. He was able to get the broken one up, but he couldn't get the rest to go up or down. So I said, okay, great. I said, now here's the deal. I said, we got to be in Colorado. This was Tuesday. I said, we got to be in Colorado for Carolyn's mother's birthday. This has been planned for months, and we've got to be there.
And my mother is very ill, unfortunately. But yeah, so it was very, you know, extremely important to me.
So he says, okay. He says, but we'll start work on it again tomorrow. I said, okay, what are we gonna do about tonight? He says, well, I'll have them fix it where it's at least secure so you can stay in it. They got it fairly secure. It wasn't super level, but it was better than it was. And we were able to hook up everything. We had the water and we had power. So we had air. It was a hot area and we're in the parking lot. So we spent the night. He says, well, I'm off tomorrow. I'm handing you off to this other young lady, service writer, and she'll take care of you. And our expert in the LCI levelers, he's off today, but he'll be in tomorrow to take a look at this.
But this is all going to be Wednesday.
Wednesday, right? He says, and we'll see if we can't find a used one out of the throwaway pile in the back.
No.
Big mistake. No, I said, you broke it, you're going to get a new one.
Yes.
I said, if it means you got to have it shipped in, great, you're going to have it done and in a timely manner. He says, well, it may take a couple weeks. I says, no, you're going to ship it in a couple days and have it here.
No, that's not going to happen yet.
You are not going to use a used one. Absolutely not, because that will void a warranty and we have no idea if it's going to work.
Exactly.
So he understood that. Didn't like it, but he understood it. So the next day, the guy comes over who's going to look at the lever system. Great guy.
Yeah.
He's about our age. He's been around a while. We got to talking and cool-headed. He says, yeah, he says, they really broke this. They did a good job on it. I said, yeah, they did. He says, well, we'll figure out what to do and get you fixed up. I said, now, you realize that I did tell your service manager, Ryder, I'm not taking the used one off the burn pile back there, the throwaway pile.
No.
I'm getting a new one. I said, and if you can't find the new one anywhere, which is going to be difficult, we've had problems getting parts for our rig all summer, you're going to take it off of one of these ones here. It's exact same levelers. You've got a couple hundred rigs here, And there's easily 100 of fifth wheels that have the LCI system. I said, so you can take it off one of them and put it on ours.
Same exact systems.
Right. He said, well, they probably won't want to do that. I said, well, they're going to have to do something. So I said, what's going to happen? He says, well, I'll go and let them know that, you know, we got to get it was a 20-incher, I think he said, and we got to find it and see what we can do. So I gave him a couple hours. I went inside and talked to the service rep. She says, yeah, we're having a hard time finding it. We think we found one, but it'll be a couple weeks till it gets here. And I said, no. I said, like we've told you, we live in this rig. We were just coming here to get our backup camera replaced. You broke it.
We're taking an hour, hour and a half to fix the backup camera.
And we're not going to sit out here for the next 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, or 3 weeks in your parking lot. Even though it's free, thank you very much. We're not doing that. I said, you're going to expedite it. You're going to have it here as quickly as you can within a matter of days. Pay for it, put it on our rig. She says, well, I'll have to talk to the service manager. I said, fine, talk to him. I'll talk to him if you want to. She says, no, I'll go ahead and talk to him. I said, okay, well, when will you know? She says, we should know by the end of the day when you're going to have it. I said, okay. So we go about doing our thing and trying to make the best of it, and contacted her parents, told them what's going on, and said, well, we're trying to get out of here, but we don't know if we'll be there by Friday. We were very disappointed, so were they. So I said, but don't give up. We'll figure out somebody to get there. So I went back that afternoon. The young lady says, well, I got good news. I said, what?
Yes, they found a part.
Yep.
They found it. They found one.
Now, I said, okay, when is it going to be here? She says, well, they may ship it in 2 to 3 days. I said, what?
Not good enough.
I said, how about ship it now and be here in 2 to 3 days?
Yes.
Well, I said, no. Ship it now, be here in 3 days. She says, okay, we'll do that. I said, okay, when will I find out what day it'll be here? Because we got to be in Colorado on Friday for Carolyn's mother's birthday. You guys have known this since it started.
She turned 82.
Yep. So she says, well, talk to me tomorrow and I'll let you know. I said, okay. All right, so the next day, which is Thursday, the original service writer, he's back from having his day off. We went in to see him. I said, okay, hey, what's the status? What's going on? And he said, well, he says, we've got the part ordered, but we don't know what's going to be here. I said, what do you mean? It's been shipped. You got to have a tracking number, and you can look to see when it's estimated delivery. Well, we don't know if we're going to have it or not. I said, no. I do distribution for a living. You've got a tracking number from whoever you shipped it from with an estimated delivery, and you can follow it. I want to know.
They said they couldn't look it up.
Yeah. He says, we got to wait for somebody in parts to get there. I said, fine. When will they be there? Oh, about an hour. I said, okay, I'll be back in 2. So I came back in 2 hours. Oh, we still don't know when it's going to be here. I said, no. This is wrong. I said, I want to talk to your service manager now. So he says, okay. So he goes in, he gets the service manager comes out, and he's standing there in the service area with us. I said, hey, we need to go somewhere, just the 3 of us can talk, away from your other customers, because they're not going to want to hear this.
There was quite a few customers in there too.
And I don't want you to be defensive for your employees, because there's probably things you don't know that I need to tell you. So let's go to your office. He says, okay, come on. So he was really nice.
He's a nice guy.
He had a cool head. I had a cool head. We kind of cooled down a little bit. Had a few drinks the night before.
I had way too many drinks the night before, so I looked pretty bad. I really did.
She wasn't feeling good, and we sat down, and I asked Carol, I says, you want to sit near the door in case you got to go to the restroom? She says, yeah, I probably should. I don't feel too good. And he looks at me, I said, she's tore up about what's going on.
I was very upset.
I said, we're supposed to be in Colorado tomorrow, Friday, for her mother's 82nd birthday. She's not feeling well. And we were scheduled to be there to help them out for a couple of weeks. We've been going out there once every 3 months or so to give them a hand.
Yes.
I said, this is not good. I said, I came in for repair on Tuesday morning for a 1-hour job under warranty, and here's where we're at. I said, okay, explain to me what you know about this. So he went on to explain to me what he did, except for he left out the part about the beginning of this whole thing. And I said, well, here's what you need to know. I said, your employee told me it was my fault, our fault, for not having the Lippert, the LCI levelers up, and I explained to him why we didn't. I said, and then when Carolyn tried to advise him that there were rigs outside,
had theirs down.
Not only the day we were there, we'd videoed people who actually had the rigs next to us where the employees came out, unhooked their power, unhooked their water, hooked up the rig, took out the blocks, and then took them into service.
Yeah.
And he says, I didn't know that. I said, I didn't think so. I said, I didn't want to put you on a spot to have to try and
defend your employees in front of your other customers, really.
Yeah. I said, because we didn't want to get in a situation, and I know you're the guy I need to talk to. I said, so what are we going to do? I said, the other part is, I don't know when this part's supposed to be in. They said they ordered it, but they don't have a tracking number in parts. And he says, oh, that's not right. I said, yeah, that's why we're talking. He says, let me get on this. He says, I'm going to find out exactly when it'll be here. Come back in an hour. We said, okay. So we came back in an hour.
We came back.
He says, I should have the part, this is Thursday. He says, I should have the part either Tuesday or Wednesday. When I get it, I'll call you and let you know I have it, and then we'll set up a time to you come get the rig. I said, that's fine. I said, but we have a problem.
Yeah.
I said, we got to be in Colorado tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
I said, it's 900, almost 1,000 miles away each way. We got to be there tomorrow. We got to leave the rig here. All of our food's in here. We can pack up some clothes and take them with us, but we got to come back. I said, and we weren't expecting to come back.
No.
We're going to go to Colorado, stay a month or two, and eventually make our way back to Memphis to our home base. And he says, well, what do you want? I said, well, I want you to make me whole. And
Yes.
the night before, I sat down and said, what would I want that would make us whole? What it was is I wanted them to pay me for the mileage, not for the fuel, because that's not how you do it. I charge my customers by the mile, 53 cents a mile. You're going to pay for hotel bills. I'll get reasonably priced hotel bills. You're going to pay for meals. And by the way, we've got to throw away food.
At least $100 worth of food, because we had just gone shopping because we were planning on taking about 3 or 4 days to get down to Colorado, my parents' house.
Plus where they're at, it's a ways to go to a grocery store. So we had roughly, 2-3 weeks worth of veggies and fruit. And we didn't worry about the meat in that because we had it in the freezer.
It's in the freezer.
So one of the things I also mentioned was we were worried about the rig because it was out there in the middle of this parking area. There was no police security. I noticed that at night. And I told the service manager, says, besides all the things you told me monetarily I need done, I need my rig plugged in because we've got 2 freezers and a refrigerator that they have meat in it. We got to have kept going.
We've got our Harley in the back too.
The Harley in the back. We've got all of our livelihood, and I've got some of my customer files in there that are very confidential and nothing can happen to them. He says, great. He says, I got it. He says, I have 7 bays. One of them's a painting bay, and we're not doing any painting. So we'll go ahead and put it in there. We'll plug in the 50 amp and we'll take good care of it. I'll check on it every day. I said, okay, that's great. We'll take that. And I said, I want this fixed and I'm not going to pay for a thing. He says, you got it. He says, I said, so can we go now? He says, yeah. And it was about lunch. So what did we do?
We went right over to the rig. We packed up what we needed. We put everything together, and we left.
Yep.
Drove down to my parents' house.
Took 2 days. When we got there, when?
About 4:30 in the afternoon.
On her birthday, for
on
her
my mom's
birthday
birthday.
dinner.
So we were able to get to my mom's birthday dinner.
So the other thing I did was when we got to Colorado, I went ahead and recapped, actually on the way to Colorado, at the hotel the night before, I recapped in an email exactly what we talked about, thanking him again for helping us out getting it fixed, and that these are what you agreed to do, and we'll see you when you call us next week.
Yep, it was in detail.
Yes, every one of the items I had mentioned. And I even told him I'd give him an expense report to cover it and all the receipts he needed, so it was good.
Well, and the last one receipt.
Yes, well, we didn't lose it. It was a lunch Taco Bell. Their system was down, they're doing construction, and they couldn't give us any receipt.
No.
It was cash only and no credit card. So he still honored it. It was only $13. So. But, so we had a good time. And then on Monday, the following week, I get a phone call from him. He says, hey, I've got the part in my hand. I said, great. I said, now, you're going to have them make sure that the other levelers are fine, like I've asked. You're going to install a new one, bleed the system, and make sure that the system is 100% working to manufacturer specs. He says, you got it. That's what we're going to do. I said, okay, good. When we need to be there. He says, we should have this by Friday. I said, okay, we'll be there about noonish on Friday, and we'll pick up the rig, and we'll go from there. So we hit the road on Thursday and drove a different way back so we could see some different scenery, which was fantastic, through Colorado and in Wyoming, all the way up to where we had to go to. And we got there Friday, and I found the service manager. I said, okay, here's all our receipts, the expense report, and here's what Joey says, fine, give me a couple minutes. I'm going to have the check cut right now. I said, great, fantastic. And he says, again, he was apologizing to us profusely, and we were thanking him for helping us to take the initiative and do the right thing. And I said, look, I'm not trying to get anybody fired.
No.
I said, you just need to train these people on how to handle customers. Number one, train them on the right way to pull a rig. before it gets repaired without damaging it. And two, you know, don't blame the customer when they're not wrong. That's two big things that are just completely irresponsible in my opinion. So he got the check for us. We went out with him, we checked the rig, it was working fine and perfect. I really gave the hydraulic system a going over.
He went over everything.
You bet.
He raced up and down those hydraulics several times.
Yep, I want to make sure it was working. It was fixed, and I was very happy. So,
well, we spent the night in the rig there just to make sure that nothing was gonna happen and we didn't end up like that again. But I have some tips for the RV companies, and this is for all the RV companies, and I wrote them down. Train your employees correctly. Know how to do their jobs without damaging other people's rigs. Don't call your customers liars or insinuate that they are not telling the truth. And don't stick up for your employees when you know that they messed up. And the last one would be work with the customers. Don't just throw them out there and throw them under the bus and say, oh well, it's going to be 3 or 4 months before we can get a part. No, work with your customers.
Okay. Now I've got tips for us RVers. I'm not going to use the sheet Carolyn's got because I got a few to go over.
I rolled it up.
Yeah, she's rolling up. She's nervous. All right, owner tips. Try to keep your cool. I really had to rein myself in when they started calling us or saying that we were wrong, we didn't know what we're doing, we're liars. And especially in that environment when we had to yell to each other and there's other customers there, that wasn't a good thing. So try and rein in your emotions as best you can, even though they just hurt your home.
I do have to say one thing regarding that is every time we would go up to the store, all the employees would scatter. They would just disappear really quickly, and because they saw us coming.
And unfortunately, that's because where we're at in the service department in the back, it echoed out into the front of their showroom floor and their store area, and it was unfortunate.
The whole place knew what was going on.
Yeah, they shouldn't have done that. They should have had it where it was more secluded, and we could take care of that without a problem. Work with the service department to get your repairs done in a timely manner. When they say it's going to take 2 to 3 weeks and you live in your rig and they broke it, no, that doesn't happen. Get it repaired, get the parts in as fast as possible. Work with them, try to think of ways to get it repaired. Like I mentioned, I said, hey, take one of the Lippard jacks off of, hydraulic jacks off one of the units here, and you can have the part come in and put it on. I said, there's units out there that'll fit. Work with them, get things done as best you can. And make sure you don't settle for something that's less than what you need and they can do. Once you realize you're going nowhere with the employees, the service riders, or whatever, that's when it's time to talk to the next level up. I was prepared to go all the way to the CEO if I had to. And I did ask for the service manager when I knew I'd hit the brick wall. There's nothing more those service rider people could do, and they weren't going to do anymore. So know when to talk to a manager and ask for a manager. All right, ask them to take you into your office and talk about this. You don't want other customers hearing this. You don't want to have the manager on the spot to try and defend his employees, even when they're wrong, because they're his employees. And it helps get things done. It was the right thing we did. We got things handled. He took care of the employees and all the other stuff that should have been handled that they didn't do, and we took care of our end, and we were very satisfied that way. Be honest and truthful. Don't exaggerate. Don't make things up. Take pictures. Take videos. Offer to take them outside to take a look at it. Be honest and show them what the truth is. Okay? And last but not least, be prepared to ask for a remedy to the problem. Like I mentioned to you, the night before I knew I was going to meet with the service manager, I wrote down everything it was going to cost me and Carolyn to leave the rig there, go to Colorado,
almost 1,000 miles.
Yeah, one way, and come back unexpectedly to the same area. That was not our plan, and that cost us a lot of money. In fact, it was about $1,500 in total.
Yes.
For mileage, food,
and hotels.
And we were reasonable. We didn't go to most expensive. In fact, we went to a restaurant. They had some fairly expensive food. We got chicken. You know, keep it nice. We ate at Wendy's. We ate at a Burger King for lunches. We ate at the hotel room for breakfast if we had to. So we were being reasonable too. If you're as thorough as I am, because I do consulting on the road, I have expense reports. I had an expense report all filled out with all the information they need so their accountant could validate it was right, and they cut me a check on the spot. The guy didn't even, he's like, well, okay.
Yeah, 15 minutes he had as a check.
Yeah. It took him that long to find a checkbook, but that's fine. So hopefully those RV tips help you. Hopefully you like our videos. We try not to badmouth anybody because things happen. It's life. But you know, this is our rig, is our home. They broke it, they had to fix it. I think it worked out well considering. It didn't take
so.
2 to 3 weeks.
I wasn't very happy with the situation, but we made the best of the situation. Unfortunately, we couldn't stay at my parents' house as long as we needed to.
Yeah, had to be back.
But it worked out.
Yep. So, if you like our videos, you need to click on the subscribe button over here.
Subscribe.
Yep.
We'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe and hit the bell.
Yep.
So you get notifications of when we put up new videos.
Yep. So we really hope this helps out. And until the next time, what do you like to say, Carol?
We'll take you there.